Welcome to It Takes Heart. I'm Sam Miklos.
And I'm Kate Coomber.
We hope you enjoy these incredible stories of healthcare professionals making a difference in communities across Australia and beyond.
Through our conversations, we look to celebrate the spirit of community and care.
We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land who have long practiced and shared ancient methods of healing, providing care and support for their communities with wisdom passed down through generations.
Join us as we explore what it truly means to take heart.
Today we are chatting with physiotherapist Judy Chesney. Judy was working in private practice when in 2021 she made the bold move into locum travel work and hasn't looked back since. Hailing from Belgium in New South Wales, Judy is full of life. She loves to travel, keep active, explore new and wonderful places and makes lifelong friends wherever she goes. In recent years, Judy has largely worked as a rural generalist physio in locations like Mildura, Katherine, Young, Mount Isa, St George, Cairns and even Thursday Island. We're really looking forward to hearing about the life of a travelling rural generalist physio today. Welcome, Judy, to the It Takes Heart podcast.
Thank you. Good to meet you. Thank you very much.
So, Judy, where are you today?
I'm actually working in a role that I picked up myself. It's in Jindabyne. So there wasn't much on offer when I was looking. So I saw an ad for a private practice in Cooma. Yep. And I thought, well, I'll come down and I'll try some skiing.
I was going to say, are you skiing?
Well, I'm trying. Yes, I've taken a few lessons, and I'm going very slowly. I haven't had skis on for 35 years, so it's a big learning curve again.
How amazing! How amazing! How did you actually get into? How did you become a physio?
Yeah.
Well, I think I've always been quite interested in the human body. I started off studying teaching and did some units of anatomy, and I found them very easy and interesting to do. And then the opportunity was there to turn it into a career. I could have chosen physiotherapy or chiropractic or osteopathy, but physiotherapy happened to be the one that was free. So I took a leap and went, well, I'll do that. And I had a young family, so I thought I needed to have a career of some sort that would support them. Yeah, and that possibly would be really good for travelling and moving out of the city. Yeah.
And did you always work in private practice, or did you work before you stepped into this travelling locum work? Where did you work predominantly?
No, I spent 14 years in the public health system in a rural hospital, so on the North Coast. And then I did a little bit of rehab work and private practice work and some in the private hospital. So I did quite a few bits and pieces, worked in the nursing homes. So it actually really sort of exhausted most of the opportunities that were available around where I was living. And then I noticed a job with Cornerstone at Mount Isa and thought, well, it fitted my skill set. And I look at that. I did some volunteer work years ago in East Timor.
Yeah, we saw that. Was that training nurses?
Yeah, training nurses. And I became interested in pediatrics and did some time down in Melbourne and in another pediatric private practice. So I've got a kind of a very big range of generalist skills, orthopedics, surgery, pediatrics. So that's when I saw this job at Mount Isa and thought, well, I could do that, not a problem. And the idea of travelling and seeing a different place appealed to me, yeah.
And Sam mentioned there that you're a rural generalist physio. What does that mean? What is your role typically when you go into these communities?
Well, it depends on the community. So different places have different demands. Like in a big rural setting, there might be 4 or 5 other physios working, and I might be just working in a particular ward, but I might rotate around to the different wards. So I might go through a rehabilitation ward where you've got people who've had strokes and things like that, and then maybe I'll spend some time in a respiratory ward and do a little bit. So you've got to because rural generalist wasn't even a thing when I first learnt. But you've got to be able to understand what your limitations are and where your strengths are, and also have a kind of an idea of where to start with most of these jobs. So, the sort of people I've seen in Mount Isa are different from the people in Mildura, are different from the people in, Thursday Island. So it is to have a wide range of skills, across a lot of different areas, or know enough about your limitations that you can reach out to someone who's more experienced and ask them, where do you go? And usually that's with physio networks, that's pretty easy to do. Yeah.
You've mentioned Mount Isa a few times, and I know that you really loved your time in Mount Isa. What was it that made that such an incredible role?
I think the thing is that it had an amazing team of allied health professionals working there. And the structure at the time was, management was really supportive, and so I think it was just the correct mix. They had an incredible team, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my physiotherapy career, one of the best jobs. At the time I was there, they had an incredible team to work with, so I felt very supported, very appreciated, which is something that sometimes doesn't happen in all positions. Just appreciated and supported. So I'd come from a job that I didn't feel appreciated in, and then all of a sudden I did. So that was really good. My skills were appreciated. Yeah.
And does that lead you to then feel that you're having even bigger impact in these types of communities?
Well, I think so. If you're appreciated, it means then you can use all the skills that you have, whereas if someone doesn't appreciate that you've got skills or expertise, they tend to take a much more dictatorial approach to what you do. They sort of micromanage you a bit more, which is uncomfortable. Yeah.
Judy, having worked in the permanent roles and then stepping into this travelling locum work, do you feel like you're able to have as big an impact in a health service when you're there for a couple of weeks at a time?
I think so, because I bring my own skills that they may not have seen there for a while. I mean, often you can be just the only physio that they've seen for a long time, and because I've got a lot of skills across a lot of different areas, I could approach a problem in lots of different ways, So it may be that my approach is different from something that they've had before, or a different way of looking at things. Yeah. So I think that is the case, is that I can have an impact and, maybe get them to think about things in a different way.
Do you feel sometimes when you go into communities it can be difficult to build trust? I'm sure with contractors coming in regularly, it may feel like a bit of a revolving door for the people who live there. How do you build that trust and establish it when you arrive?
Look, I don't think that. I think they are used to having people going in and out, because they have doctors that do that too. So I think they are used to people going in and out a bit. I try to become involved in the community and, sort of make myself get out and do things with the people in the community, whether it's going to the local stalls or, getting involved in the gym or the local sports club or whatever. I try to get involved a little bit so that I'm, they can see that I'm there to be, I'll go to the trivia night at the pub and, so I get sort of known around the area a bit. Yeah.
Judy, if a graduate physiotherapist was listening to this podcast and, they weren't familiar with the role of a rural generalist, what skills would you tell them to get before? Like, is it possible for a grad to go out in these rural generalist roles? Do you think there's a certain skill set that they should get first to make them, I guess, better equipped?
How do they transition?
Look, I guess I guess if I was sort of thinking about that it would be hard, but I think if I look back at my career, where I first moved as a graduate physiotherapist into a small rural hospital, and I had to all of a sudden be the rural generalist for that hospital, then I'd say that you just have to kind of fake it till you make it, really.
Yes, yeah.
You just have to keep going. Just embrace everything and just go, well, I'll just do the best I can in this situation. And sometimes you don't know how much you know until you try. You actually do know more than you think you do. Something might look complicated, but there's a lot of information available for physios now online, or, via Zoom or electronic hookups to different major hospitals where you can get the information you need to help people. And you can actually even now go and do consultations online with a surgeon sitting next to the patient and things like that. So there's a lot of scope there for getting that expertise and feeling very comfortable. But, there will always be things, and there still are things that I come across in my roles where I go, oh, I haven't seen one of these for a while. What do I do? And you just have to look at how you can get that information or who you can access to give you that information. Yeah.
I've got to tell you that resonates. I graduated as an OT myself, as an occupational therapist, and I remember that fake it till you make it for those first few weeks, where the orthopedic surgeon would come in and say, make a splint. And I was like, I couldn't even work out how to turn on the splint pan, let alone make the splint. I was like, where do I do that? And what am I making it with? He was like, what are you doing here? So I was like, I'll make something. I don't know if it's what you'll be wanting, but it'll look fabulous.
It sounds like then the team that you have around you is really critical, that supportive, helping each other.
Yeah.
Is what they need.
Is there you've worked, when we said in the intro, some of the contracts you've had, like some incredible places. Has one other than Mount Isa been particularly memorable? Is there another place that you've really enjoyed or that you didn't expect to have, such a great experience?
Oh, look, I think the top of my list is Thursday, because I looked at them. They're all great. But I think the top of my list is Thursday Island, because the things there, because the place is so incredible.
Can you maybe paint a picture, Judy? Like, some people won't know what's at Thursday Island. What's there? What's the health service? Talk us through it.
So Thursday Island is right up the tip of Australia, and they service, I think there's about 50 islands in the Thursday Island complex. It's a mixture of sort of Polynesian background people and Indigenous people, as well as, workers through the area. And it's got that very unique feeling of, easygoingness that, a holiday in Fiji would have. It's very hot there, Plus you've got, rural, all the problems that come with rural Indigenous communities as well. You've got a lot, and people being shy about coming for services and things. So it's and there's lack of resources there, like a lot of places too. So there's a large hospital there where I was working, and it services that whole community. And so they have a full range of things from, fractures and orthopedic problems right down to pediatrics and antenatal. Yeah. So it's quite a big, and they have outreach. So, you go out on a helicopter and stay a couple of days on a little island and see the local community, and it's just amazing. You work in a small clinic and just try to do the best you can for the people while you're there, and it's a beautiful environment. Just my view from the window was the ocean. It was just incredible. It was just a beautiful place to be, So yes, Thursday Island would top my list, I think, of incredible places to work, but it there's limitations with everything too. It may not have been as interesting as other places to be. Yeah.
And what about your bucket list? Where's on the list where you really want to go?
I want to go to Broome. I want to go to Western Australia. Yeah, that's on my bucket list.
And is there any reason in particular that is high on the list?
Well, because I haven't been able to get there yet. Yeah. I haven't had a holiday there or anything else. I know people who are working there now that I'd like to see and catch up with, people that and that's the other thing is when you're doing these roles is you often bump into the same people, nurses and other allied health professionals who are also doing that locum circuit, and you go, oh, hi, I remember you from, Mount Isa or, wherever. And so you do keep track of people. So I guess I haven't worked in Western Australia yet, so I go to Western Australia. Yeah.
Judy, you've made so many great friendships along the way. Do you ever find it hard to leave a place?
And how do you decide how long to stay in each contract?
And how long are you there? Because what's the rhythm like? Are you only away for a couple of weeks, then you go home? Like, where's home for you?
Home is Bellingen. That's where my family is. It is hard sometimes, depending on what's going on, with my family. So, I've been taking up to 12 weeks, and then I'm at Isa. I did 2 lots of 12 weeks, but had a break in the middle. It is hard, family and friends, back home in Bellingen to sort of keep up with that. But I find that I'm only back a couple of weeks and then I'm ready to go again, Like I really like getting out and seeing the new places and getting out and going. So, yeah, as much as I like to be home, I also like to go, So
Have you always
I like to spend.
I think look for travel.
Yeah, I think looking back, yes, I have. Yeah, I have. I mean, when I had children, of course, it slowed down a little bit, but previous to that, I travelled a bit as well, so I'd work 8 months and then travel a bit and then, come back and work a bit more and travel again. So, yeah, so it feels very comfortable to me. There are places that if I was a younger woman and I didn't have family ties, I would have picked up the jobs that were going there and gone, yeah, I'll stay here, Thursday Island. If I'd been younger, I would have taken a job at Thursday Island, or Tully had a job going to. I would have loved to stay at Tully. That was very nice there. Depending on the point in your life, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Judy, I'm always keen to hear like how we can better support, candidates' wellbeing on placement. And I did read that you were crowned the lifetime member category winner for the National Weight Watchers Slimmer of the Year competition.
Oh God, that just never leaves, does it?
I know. I bet it doesn't.
It goes away.
But it got me thinking, how some of those places you've mentioned, like how do you keep active? How do you eat healthy? How do you look after your well-being while you are on placement? And, in some of these places where there might just be an IGA, not necessarily a gym, what do you do? And what have you seen done?
Well, if there's a swimming pool, I'll go swimming. So I do swimming. Sometimes I take my bike with me. So I've, take the bike riding. Here I'm going skiing. So I just try to find whatever is the physical activity of the area at the time, and it might be just walking or running or doing something like that to just stay active. There's usually a small group of people that do some activity, and it's different in every place, and sometimes it takes a bit of time to find out what's going on. Food-wise, I think that's probably the difficult thing, the expensive thing, is each time you go to a new place, you've sort of got to set yourself up with your pantry, because, you've got no sauces and no condiments and nothing like that, no tools to make anything, so you can't really sort of get into making fancy meals. Often my meals are just ready meals, or at the moment I'm drinking a lady shake just for the sake of it, to fill me up because it's easy and it's cheap. Yeah. So I look at what I can have that's easy and cheap, and then maybe once a week I'll go down to the pub and have a pub meal or something like that, So I don't know that it's inexpensive. It can get expensive in terms of, setting yourself up and then having the foods there that you want. But you just make do. So some places, Thursday Island didn't have a big pick of groceries either. You just whatever you can find that's healthy and nutritious. There's usually fruit and whatever. Some places don't have pretty expensive fruit. So I know when I was in Weipa, they had to rely on a barge to bring their food in, so sometimes there'd be nothing left in the supermarket very much at all. But
And I guess seasonally with weather, that probably impacts some of those communities as well.
absolutely, yeah. So there'd often be sort of no vegetables there to speak of or anything like that. Yeah. So you just have what you can have. Yeah.
You sound like you really absolutely thrive in this travelling locum work. Do you think you'd ever go back, I guess, to a permanent local job or what is it that you love
No,
so
I don't.
much about
No,
this?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
What do you love so much about it?
I think it's the variety. I think it's just the incredible variety of things. Even, it might be a rural hospital in one place and a rural hospital in another place, but they're totally different.
How
They're
so?
totally different. Well, just even the people in the township are different. Like, for instance, Mildura, you'd get a lot of people who were having alcohol withdrawals. It's a very big winemaking country. You get people who were suffering from alcohol-related neurological diseases or strokes. So it's an affluent community where people do those kind of things. Or else you'd go into another place like Catherine, and that'd be with people with vascular diseases and malnutrition and things like that. So it was very vastly different, the sort of communities and the presentations that you have to help with, and a rich community, they might have access to all your walking frames and your aids and your wheelchairs and your services, where another community doesn't have any of that or might wait weeks for that. So there's a lot of challenges, in different communities and in different hospitals, the sort of people that you see, and even, the cultures in the hospital can be different as well, So, just very different, lots of variety.
What would you say is the greatest challenge that you've seen, I guess, in terms of working as a physio in these communities? Like, if there's physios listening who are interested in this kind of work, what's something that they should know that's maybe a little bit difficult or that you maybe didn't expect would be challenging from a clinical or professional perspective?
I think remote communities, particularly even Indigenous communities, suffer from lack of resources. And that might mean that anything from just your physical resources like wheelchairs and things like that, but even you can't get home modifications done, or else maintenance of equipment is very difficult, or you might not have what you need. You might not even have the other staff members that you need. Like you might be the only physiotherapist there, but they haven't got a speech pathologist and they don't have a dietitian, and they don't have an occupational therapist, or there's no nursing staff that can go out and help someone in their home, So it's that kind of difficulty in terms of a professional thing, is that you have to be ready to kind of, go, well, I haven't got what I need, so what can I do with what I've got? Yeah, so that's really the challenge, yeah.
And aside from perhaps, extra funding and things like that, what do you think we can do to help bridge that gap of outcomes?
Good question.
Well, it's a big one, isn't it? And I think there's no
Yeah. And
one thing, obviously.
I think governments all over the world have been trying to do that. They either throw money at it or throw resources at it or make a new department, everything else. I think the thing, as I said, often you can't get the staff there. So getting staff in a place in the first place is the first thing. And then those staff can start to identify the things that they need, where the funding should be spent. So if you can get professionals to take positions in rural and they're committed to the rural community, then they can actually start to go, you know what we need is more community nurses, or what we need is, you know, four-wheel drive wheelchairs, or what we need is, you know, ramps, so that they can actually, or what we need is, a vehicle that will bring the people in from the communities, you know, so they can actually start to identify how they can deliver their services better, you know.
This information is so helpful to people, and I think it sounds like we really need the right people in these communities who have that mindset, who have that level of understanding to really have that impact, which I think just sharing your stories today is really going to help that.
And I think the other thing, and this is something that I learned in East Timor when I was there, is that you have to have people who are prepared to listen to the community about what they need. Because often you can go in there as a professional and go, well, I can see that what you need is a new house, you know, with all the access, but that may not be the priority for those people. You know, they might have a different priority, you know, maybe they just want new shoes or food in their bellies or something else, you know. So I think it's getting that conversation going with the community and the people that live there and the people that know them to actually start identifying the things that are priorities for the community.
Yeah, and that real holistic approach.
Yeah.
Every episode, we're donating $500 to a charity of our guest choice. Judy, where is that going for you today?
I'm not sure that this qualifies for what you say, but I would nominate the St George Triathlon Club. So St George is a little community of about 3,000 people, and the Triathlon Club is run by volunteers, and they do amazing things. You know, they do a whole event where people from miles around come to the event, and it's all, you know, and people from the community put on, you know, sausage sizzles, and there's little prizes for kids on their bikes. And each Sunday they also run events and things too where the kids get involved. So they've really got a good focus on bringing activity and sport and involvement to that very small community. You know, they do bike rides through the week, and the doctors get involved, and there's prizes for, you know, teams. I think two of the doctors' teams won this last event that they run, you know. So they're just, it'd be wonderful because, you know, I said to them, oh, you're putting out medals and things, you know, so, oh, no, we don't have enough money for medals, you know. And I just think, you know, to keep these people interested in being able to keep that focus on community activity, and it's so important for health and well-being and mental health and everything else, that would be a real bonus to them, yeah.
That's a great choice, Judy. I think, you know, what you've spoken to there is, you know, it's so about keeping the focus on the community, and, you know, you've shone a light on a number of communities that you've worked in. And I think if we've got physiotherapists that listen to this episode, I'm sure there would be many that would be inspired to come into these communities. And at the end of the day, that's what we need, right? That's the first step that you've pointed out, is if we can just get more healthcare professionals to take a leap into a different community and maybe go back there a couple of times and get that continuity, it'll just start to make a difference.
Well, it's amazing how many people who start off doing a locum end up as a permanent resident
This is exactly
of these
right.
communities, you know. So, yeah, so it does happen.
And that's the end goal, right? Getting, the right people in the right places. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time today. We've so enjoyed hearing about your journey. And yeah, enjoy your time down in the ski fields. That sounds fabulous.
I'm trying not to break a leg.
But I was going to say, just stay safe and enjoy it.
Stay safe. I will.
Thank you so much,
Thanks, Judy.
Okay, thank you. Radio. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to share, rate and review. This allows us to reach more people and share more incredible stories. Click the follow or subscribe button to ensure you never miss an episode.